Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're going to talk about Rodira. She is an excellent support, and I think she's unmatched in the Elites squad currently in the game. I don't think there's a better healer support than Rodira in the game, Elite or under. I think she is worthy of being an epic based on her kit and her contributions to the fight, and I'll even go as far as to say that in the early game I think she outshines Mathasia. Now, obviously, Mathasia is going to pull away a little later in the game, but for the early game, for ease of build, skill up, ascension, and contribution to a fight, I think Rodira is doing more than Mathasia does. And I actually pulled Mathasia on my main account as one of my earlier supports, and Rodira did more for me. I was able to get further in Queen with Rodira than I was Mathasia. She's just so good. We're going to break down her skills today, her stats, talk about how to build her. And hopefully, if you did not have her or you were sleeping on her, you give her another look, especially if you're struggling to progress in Queen. She's also great support for Tulpa. She's honestly great support anywhere except Ashe, probably. if you need a healer, I get a lot out of her in Arena, and now that 3v3 Arena has dropped, I run her with my tanky bruiser comp a lot. She's fantastic in there. She's great support through Void Tower. We just got our first Void Tower 100 clear on this account. Great, literally everywhere in the game except probably Ashe and Guild Boss. Probably not so hot in Guild Boss, but beyond that, untouchable. I think she's better than Connor. I think she's better than Abbott. I think she's the best elite healer support in the game, in my opinion. So let's take a look at her stats and skills and talk about what makes her so good. She's got B tier health and speed. It is not hard to make her the fastest on the team. With a base speed of 116, she's pretty solid. I used to have mine built differently. I focused speed a bit more on her, and it was not uncommon for me in silver and gold to outspeed Winstrexes with her, which would enable me to preemptively throw up a defense buff on my team, which we'll get to when we talk about her skills, which would help us absorb a little bit better whatever the Winstrex was setting up. I have since changed her up a bit because I wanted to maximize her heal. So she's not as fast as she used to be, and I think I'm getting more out of her now based on that. So again, we'll talk about the gear in a second, but B tier health and speed, fine. In her trait, she has a 20% to her max health effect built in, so that's going to help you again shoot her max HP up. Max HP is very important on her because you'll see as we get through her skills scale on her max health, the higher her max health, the better she heals. So you want to get it as high as possible. On the A1, we have an attack down. A1 attack down is fantastic. It is such a good debuff to have on the A1. This one's 50%. It's a bit of a coin flip as to whether or not it's going to proc, and then you have to win the focus roll. But 50% is still reliable enough, especially for an A1. For an A1, 50% is fantastic. So you could lean focus on her a little bit. I would not sacrifice much HP for it if you wanted to do this. But if you can find some focus in your substats, or maybe get a good Raptor set on her with good HP stats on it, fine, right? Again, I would not sacrifice any HP to have the focus, but if you can find it, it's great. Excellent A1, especially for dungeons. Going to help you in Queen, going to help you in Tulpa. Really, really nice. Her A2 is so good. Heals the caster and an ally, and removes all negative effects from the ally. Healing scales with this character's max health. By my calculations, this tends to heal at about 18% of her max health. So right now I'm at about 18,100 max health. This did about 3,260 when I was testing out. I was trying to figure out how much it scaled. Seems to be about 18% of her max health based on my very limited testing, which is pretty solid, right? It's a pretty decent single target heal. It heals. It's actually a double target heal, I guess, technically. You pick who you want to heal and cleanse, but then she's also going to heal herself the same amount. My only problem with this skill is that it heals before it cleanses. So if the target has a heal block, it's going to be a wasted heal. You're still going to want to do the cleanse, but I wish it would cleanse and then heal. That way you could get rid of the heal block and then heal them up. But a target plus her gets healed, the target gets fully cleansed. It's on a 2-turn cooldown. That is obnoxious. That is an obnoxiously low cooldown for something like this on an elite champion. This is excellent. You are not going to be hard pressed to keep debuffs off your team with this coming every 2 turns. So excellent skill. Very helpful. It's been helpful for me in Arena and 3v3 Arena as I've been using her in there. But then in Dungeons on auto, it's great. She targets whoever's getting debuff stacked on him, knocks him out. It's fantastic. Her ultimate heals all team members based on the amount of this character's max health and applies defense up to the target for 2 turns. That is worded incorrectly. It says to the target, it means the whole team. So it's a full team heal, full team defense buff. Again, by my calculations, this heals about 30% of her max health. Again, I have not tested her with different HPs, but based on where my HP is at, it's about 30%. So I'm assuming it's roughly, I think it's 29.9 and some change of my max health right now. So I imagine it hovers somewhere around 30%. It might scale a little bit depending on your max health, but it seems to be around 30%. Again, fairly beefy heal. It is not going to be hard, especially in the early game and as you're transitioning into the mid game to stack her HP up, because it's the only stat you really have to focus on her. So we've got a very good full team heal, full team defense buff. We've got an amazing single target heal cleanse that also heals herself. And then an attack down on the A1. Everything she does is impactful. Every turn there's no turn she takes that's wasted. She is just killer. Great support. I cannot recommend that you build her enough. If you are earlier in the game especially and you're struggling to get through Queen, she is going to make your Queen runs safer, for sure. As far as gear goes, you will see we've got her in full Terra, and we are at the stage, again, if you're early and early mid, HP is really the only stat you want to worry about on her. If you can find some focus, great. Do not lose HP over it. But if you can find some, great. You can see we can't find any, and I'm not sacrificing the HP. I would rather have her healing more powerfully than landing the attack down. I'd rather the heals be better across the board than to land the attack down and have heals not be as good. You know what I mean? Attack down in Queen versus heals everywhere. I'd rather have the heals everywhere, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. If you can find it, great. If you can't, I wouldn't sweat it too much. She still lands it sometimes, to be honest. It's still relatively reliable, so not difficult. But you can see everything we've done is HP percentage. We've got full Terra, HP percentage. The rolls are not so hot. You can see we're going to be able to get her HP up way higher as the gear gets better and we get luckier on some of these rolls. But HP percentage is a main stat across the board on the bottom. I don't know that I would recommend focus on the amulet unless you've got such amazing HP gear here. Unless you've got really, really good HP substat rolls here. And even then, I think the more HP, the better. I think the better the heal, the better. I think look for focus in your substats, or maybe a Raptor set if you've got good HP rolls on it. Other than that, I don't think I would sacrifice a main HP stat for a focus main stat, okay? Again, that's just my recommendation. You can certainly do whatever you like. As you get a little bit later in the game, whether you're probably going to want to focus on things like resistance and agility, so that she's a little bit harder to hit, a little bit harder to place debuffs on. And then if you wanted to lean focus, again, later in the game, you're going to have more gear options. It's going to be a little bit easier to hit multiple stats. But I think if you're watching this video, you are probably early to mid-game. Just get her HP up, and she's going to do great things for you. Get her glyphed up. Get her maxed out. None of these things are hard to do because she's an elite. Get her fully ascended as you pull more copies of her. And she might even be farmable. I can't remember if she's farmable, but she may be farmable from the adventure mode. If she is, I'll put it on the overlay somewhere, which stage you can go farm her from. But she may not be, I don't remember. But that's it. We'll wrap this one up here. Usually I do a little bit of gameplay footage of the champ I'm doing a guide on, but here I think the big thing to take away is the percentage of her max health, that the A2 is about 18% of her max health, the A3 is about 30% of her max health. I don't think you need to see her healing in action, you know what I mean? So we'll wrap this one up here. Hope it was helpful. If it was, think about liking and subscribing and all that jazz. And let me know who you would like to see next. Which of the elites would you like to see next? Drop that in the comments for me. And if there's a trend down there, we'll make them the next video. So I'm getting out of here. I appreciate you guys. Hope it was helpful. We'll see you later.